Hojicha. Let's talk about it. So hojicha is this naturally sweet, roasted, nutty cousin of matcha. Now the color is naturally brown because it's roasted and toasted, like I said. And when it's roasted and toasted, all of the colors will evaporate, including some of those flavors that you find in matcha. So what you are really left with is this very brown, amber-like color that is low caffeine. It has this woody, nutty taste depending on how you make it. Let's just say if you bake it, it wouldn't have that nutty flavor. But if you drink it straight, or sometimes if you make it in a latte, you will find a slight hint of nuttiness. Not all the time, it's depending on the roast, what kind of ingredients goes into the hojicha. But speaking of the ingredients, it's usually a mix of second harvest. Sometimes it will include the branches and the stems of the tea plant. It's essentially all the offcuts or not so quality tea leaves that didn't make it into matcha that becomes hojicha. And it's not exclusively that either. It's really just green tea, second harvest, third harvest. If you're someone that is super addicted to caffeine and you want to like cut your caffeine intake down by 80-90%, then hojicha is the one to get, because matcha still has a bit of caffeine in it, but with hojicha is very little. Now I just want to say that hojicha naturally comes in the tea form, as in it's in a tea leaf, but there is the hojicha powder, which is what we're making today. In a powder form, it's a little bit harder to drink compared to the tea leaves, because the hojicha tea leaves, or the unpowdered version, is all the stems, all the bancha, all the stuff combined. But with the powder, it's all grounded and then becomes the powder, just like matcha. That's why it's the brown sheep of the family. Now the best way to drink hojicha usually is in a latte. That's when the flavors can come out and shine. Now for this hojicha latte that I'm making, I used about 50 mils of water and also 4.5 grams of hojicha. Now, because the flavors are roasted, toasted, a lot of those flavors, you need a lot of powder to get the potent, strong hojicha flavor. But I want it to be well balanced. So I'm gonna add a 1-to-1 ratio, which is about 50 mils of milk as well. Mix it together with your whisk or with your electric frother, depending on what you have. You will find that hojicha itself, because it's a lot denser than matcha, it will settle at the bottom of your cup. And to prevent it from settling down at the bottom of a cup, you mix it with the milk and you whisk it, so the bubbles and the froth foam is going to elevate all those sediments. Then you pour it in like usual. It's a drink you can still have around 3 to 4 p.m. if you are very sensitive to caffeine. Sometimes the flavors are very hard to gauge. It could be very charcoaly and ashy. When you make it correctly, it's very cozy, toasty, pleasant drink to have.